And that's going to begin tonight's game stream. Incidentally, I am now in talks with certain people to get my own theme song made so that YouTube and Twitch won't copyright strike the songs that I use for intros and outros. What I look like is I'm having fun, okay? This is part 4 of the Moon Miner mission. This is the part where we finally launch the Moon Miner. Here it is. Here's the landing platform. Above the landing platform is the return ship with all the tanks full of ore that we're going to be hauling up. Then we've got the central stack, main power, fuel containment, a little bit of monoprop for maneuvering, and most importantly, a fuel refinery in the middle so we can use the ore not just for the ore we need for the contract, but to refuel the ships. And then on either side of the central stack, we have not one, but 2 drills, small subsidiary tanks, and habitat space, plus thrusters and landing gear and probe cores so that we can launch all this stuff, assemble it in Kerbal orbit, and then fly it to the moon and land it as a single unit. This is the most expensive part. We could technically launch almost 3 of these things on the money we have in the bank. But some of that money is advances for other projects. Yes, this one has fins and plenty of them. Is it to NASA standards? No, because I have not included any kind of abort system for this thing, except to find an unoccupied piece of ground to crash it into. Random Fast Reader, you ought to love this. 9 mainsail engines. I know you love your mainsails. We are flying in 3, 2, 1, fire. And the encoder didn't do a damn thing. I think we might have that almost licked. I'm a bit concerned about what happens when I dump the boosters, which is coming up momentarily, because that'll only leave me 2 fins left on this thing, and there's a chance it'll flip backwards on me. Only one way to know. Only one way to know. Go, go, go. Yeah, that last note was sour. Bing, bang, boom. Getting ready to dump the fairing. Okay, there it goes. And we've got a periapsis, 98 by 112, basically. That's what we'll have to work with. This one doesn't need as much delta V because this is only going to low Kerbal orbit. It's not going to the moon all the way, except the we may be tapping into the fuel here at the top to get the delta V we need for the landing. And this detaches from the booster stage by the docking port here. The docking port connection here is the weak link. If this ship is going to wobble any place, it'll be at this joint. These are the engines I could put on here easily that didn't interfere with having the docking port on the bottom of the ship, and that was an absolute must. And I had to be very careful to make sure that the bells here could just barely land on that pad with the docking port centered up. But for right now, let's take this thing up. Right, and we are flying in 3, 2, 1, fire. Shutting down there, and we're in space. Got rid of the fairing. So far, so good. Yeah, there's that wobble I was talking about. Okay, that's stabilized with the stage gone. There's our target, 38 kilometers behind us. Okay, now we're orbital. Still way too much delta V in this stage. And I kind of hate to do it, but we're going to have to leave this thing up here as unspent fuel in orbit. This is a really wasteful way of doing the rendezvous. But I have the fuel, and this is a bit quicker. Under a kilometer, approaching at 11 meters per second. We're back to orbital status, by the way, with that last burn. Gonna leave an orbital difference of 1 meter per second. And get in here. And that's us having dumped this. Now I'm getting the target set up for our docking. There's still a good chunk of fuel in that thing, and someday something with the proper docking port will come up and harvest that, if I feel like it. All right. Okay. Looking good. Shoot. The way I designed this, it's got to come on absolutely flush. And I'm not getting that. Crap. Kicking both RCS and SAS off and crossing my fingers. Come on, quit tumbling. Has that got it? I messed up. I messed up, and this is a piece of space junk. Apparently, when I was being so careful to make sure that these exactly lined up, I must have had the engine bells of these engines slightly clipping into the platform. There is a gap here in between the docking ports that this thing can't quite reach. Okay, 3 design flaws. 1, needs more delta V. 2, these engines need to move up slightly so this thing can dock properly. And 3, needs a probe core so that we can send this up without a pilot, because Grakens needs to have something to ride in. And that gets us more Delta V in the final stage. That's tall and wobbly as hell, though. So there's a chance they'll pull apart or even Kraken apart. And the fuck is going on here? Oh shit. I should have recovered that rather than try to fly it. That's another 106 gone, because for whatever reason we had an improperly joined rocket. Ah, I bet I know exactly why. Because this is up in the air, and this was trying to join through the service bay onto the battery. And that's why it toppled over like that. Okay. Let's see if we can spend another $106,000 unwisely. Whoop, oh, crap. I bet you Jeb climbed back into this ship. He ought to know better. No, he's not there. And this time the rocket is not trying to break in half. Good. Ship wants to tump over. 3, 2, 1, fire. Shit. The return ship is too tall. This is going to be another failed launch almost certainly, but I'll try my best. Come on, steady up for me. Flying too low, we need to get altitude in a damn hurry. Once we lose these fins, we're in serious trouble. Okay. I don't know if I dare to hope or not. Okay, cutting throttle. And we're just going to let it do its own thing until it gets to space. Good God, that was a shitty launch. Technically still not over, but... Well, there's a lot more of it down here in the big reaction wheels than there is up here in the capsule. Is part of the problem. But the biggest problem is this ship here is only connected by a docking port, and it's a lot taller than the previous ship was, so leverage is not our friend. Oh, and I'll tell you something else. I forgot to put an antenna on this thing. In any sane world, this would have died a dozen times before now. This would be confetti on the ocean. But because it's Kerbal Space Program, we're not actually doomed yet. Yet. Let me get rid of the first stage, and hopefully that'll balance things out enough for us to get an orbit. Okay. Forget the target. We're not going to hit it on this pass. We are already way down from the apoapsis, and I'm just trying to keep this thing out of atmosphere now. Okay, I've got no choice but to tap the thuds if we're going to have any hope in hell of making it. Okay, our descent is slowing down. That was a mistake. That was a big mistake. Probe core's lost control. We're going to get an orbit, just barely. We still haven't quite got an orbit, we're just short. And despite that, we actually have an intersect of within 1.9 kilometers. Which is fucking absurd. How is this ship not dead? Please, please, please give me a ground station. I'm missing a perfect opportunity. Ah, good. We now have orbit. Well, I'm close enough for that now, Fax, and that is my general plan. But first, I'm draining this thing of as much fuel as I possibly can. Filling the tanks up on this bastard. Because we are dumping this fucker right now. Okay, the two ships have drifted apart, which is fine by me. Graken, get out. Getting there gradually. I may have mentioned before that I don't like the idea of having my Kerbals splat against the side of their destination ship. Okay, making final approach at 0.5 meters per second. And okay, we have a new and fully fueled return ship. A lot taller than I like, unfortunately, but this is lighter and has a bit more storage space in it. So hopefully this has got enough Delta V once it's full to get from the moon to orbit. The hell of it is, I had thought this would be the simple pair to dock up. All right. Half a meter per second. Looking good. RCS off and cross your fingers. Nuts. RCS off, we have soft capture, and finally, those two pieces are together. Okay. Even taking into account that these three are going to be gone, this is going to be a tall damn thing to land on the moon. Itsune says, "Quick, where's the roll of duct tape?" Yeah, I wish I had some duct tape right about now. Speaking of, shut down these engines. I emphatically do not want those firing. There. I'm correcting the main design flaw in this one because after we get done with the one on the moon, we have a contract to send its twin brother up to Minmus, which means I've got to do all of this over again. And I want to make damn sure before I save this that the next time I fly this defect is fixed. The struts are on the tanks. When I fire this stage, the decouplers throw the tanks and the struts off. Ideally, this will be enough to keep the ship from doing what it did before and flopping all over the fucking place. A reaction wheel, this time on the right end of the, This could be interesting to fly. After that last experience, this could be very interesting to fly. Itsune, you're right. I should put the same fix on this that I just put on the return ship stack. So let's recover vessel. Alright. All looks good. Save that. And remind me to put that fix on the right-hand side before I launch it as well. Alright. Let's see how this works. And we are launching in 3, 2, 1, fire. Okay. I'm going to have to do this rendezvous the old-fashioned way because I was impatient. And my little improvisation with the struts here so far has worked out fine. Now, the only thing that I have to worry about is making sure that these things disconnect cleanly. Because if they don't, that's a problem. And I forgot to put the engineer in here. It's a good thing that I only need to take 2 up because I'm going to need to put 2 engineers in the right stack when I launch it. And that was a mistake because we're going right past it. All right. Attaway. Okay. $315 away, more or less. I just remembered that I didn't target the actual target, which is still way the hell over there. I was targeting something that I could because I couldn't get the other one. And as it happens, we are way the fuck away from it, and getting further away by the minute. So, I was patting myself on the back for having used less fuel in this booster stage than any of them that have come up so far. Bullshit. For anyone who's wondering why I targeted the wrong thing, the game wouldn't let me zoom in far enough to target the one I wanted. So I targeted something that I thought would be close enough, and it turned out it was 30 kilometers off. We are on collision course pretty much. 5.3 meters per second. The single biggest drawback to this design is that I need to get the left and right components absolutely level with the legs on the center component so the thing will stand flat and firmly on the surface of the moon. And that is damn hard to achieve. Control from the docking port. Point that radial in. By God, you're going through monoprop in a hurry. All right, tab over. I'm getting past because these things are about to bump. Lightly or not. There, just the tiniest brush. Okay, this is the left-hand side one. Okay. This isn't perfect, but it might help. Come on, settle down. I'm trying to dock with this thing still attached to save as much of the fuel as possible. I am upside down and I need to flip over so that the landing legs are facing down on the ship as designed. Still plenty of monoprop. This is taking a lot longer than I anticipated, I tell you. All right. This is a really finicky piece of work. It would be a lot easier if I detached the fuel tank here, but like I said, I want that Delta V. Reasonably good for a lineup, I hope. Okay. "14 meters in closing." "10 meters. That's probably as close as I can align these things. Electric charge is okay. Monoprop's about 40%. Doesn't look quite right. Come on, you bastard. Link up. SAS off. We have soft capture. It's docked. One more check. Oh. Okay, we might be dumping this a lot quicker than I thought. I hadn't realized that I was drawing fuel from these tanks too. So that could be a problem. No, only this tank. What the hell? For whatever reason, apparently it's not letting me do a crossfeed from here through the habitat section. Alright, got my medicine down, got some popcorn over here. Popcorn. I hope you got your snack too. Okay. And now, even if you can hear me snacking, you can no longer see me snacking. Okay, those have decoupled properly. RCS on. Okay. Anyway, let's go back to the Space Center. And I need to launch the right-hand stack this time. And this time I need to put in my 2 engineers to run these bloody drills. Okay, time warp up to dawn. There we go. Woo! Right. Save that, just because. Okay, that it? That sure looks like it. Except, ooh dear. That am unfortunate. Okay. I'm glad I caught that just now. There. And, that's got that. Save that. Alright, that's a notable improvement. And just to be sure, disable crossfeed so we're not burning this tank on the way up. Right. One last save, and crew. I forgot to take one engineer up before, so now we need to take two. Hudka and Leary are going to be on the crew, and the other two crew are already on the moon. So, we're good to go. Save and launch. We might just barely get this thing landed tonight, if nothing else goes wrong. Huge if. Alright, Hudka and Leary going for a ride with the computer controlling in 3, 2, 1, fire. And we're off the pad and burning well. I forgot to double check the staging. Fixed. Time to dump the... What the hell just happened? Uh-oh. I know what just happened. I forgot to check the staging, and that was the decouplers that held the struts in place up top. We are going to have an adventuresome rest of the way up, and we're going to have to pray that when the fairing comes off, that nothing is damaged on the part up here. Okay. Looks like nothing damaged. All the engines, all the landing legs are still in place. We got away with that one, looks like. Dialing in an intercept over here, and it's working very well so far. Still suborbital, but we're going to get in orbit before too much longer. 350 and closing. 300 in closing. $250 and closing at 6 meters per second. $180 in closing. Okay, we're not going to collide on this route, which is perfectly fine by me. Okay, time to say goodbye to this booster stage. Let's go ahead and retract this, just in case. No, I didn't slow down because the longer you take to approach something in orbit, the more your courses will tend to drift. Any two separate objects in orbit, even if they're only separate by the smallest of margins, are in different orbits, and they will gradually draw apart. Okay, Control from here. And radial in. Closing in. Damn, what the hell? Okay. All right. That looks pretty close to lined up. It better be. All right. We have a dock. And they are a little cattywampus, hopefully not fatally so. They're not far enough apart to where it's worth it for me to try and undock, redock, and try to fix it. Now the question is, have I done my job well enough that this thing lands intact on the moon without shit breaking? Alright, that's probably as good as I can dial it in. 830 meters per second gets me a periapsis at the moon of 15 kilometers. Gradkin, Hudka, and Leary they're having a real good time. Gragan's taken it a lot better than I thought. She spent nearly a year in orbit around Minmus. And here she is, smiling and happy, just pleased as punch to be going right back up again after maybe 3 weeks on the ground. Anyway, 5, 4, 3, just go. We are a little bit wobbly under all this full throttle because this at the top is too... Damn it. That's why I wanted these things down on the deck to help stabilize the thing. Okay, we're going to have problems. Well, it's Tsune. Jeb's common sense boils down to, I want to fly things. Jebediah is the stereotype of the test pilot. A normal person who's in an airplane that's 10 seconds away from crashing is going to panic. A test pilot who is 10 seconds away from crashing is thinking, okay, I'm 10 seconds away from crashing. What do I need to do to not crash? And then what do I do with the other 5 seconds? Anyway, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, fire. Uh-oh. Got a bad case of the shimmies there. Finish the burn. Okay, that maneuver is blown. Our apoapsis is still absurd. Since it is absurd, we'll take advantage of it. There we go. Right. And firing. Okay. Almost there. Got it. All right, there's 31 meters per second left, and then we can drop this tail. Okay, if this thing is reading correctly, we have 3,341 meters per second of delta V left once I dump this thing. That should be more than sufficient to get us down to the ground. Should be. But it's also getting us down to the ground in a particular spot and finding level ground to set it down on, so not guaranteed. 4, 3, 2, 1, fire. I forgot to disable the cross feed. That's where the extra delta V was coming from, someplace inside this shit. All right, 3, 2, 1. Okay. All right, and here is where we begin our descent burn. One of the other features of hard mode, by the way, no quick saves. So we get one bite at this apple, basically. Okay. Well, we are really slow to decelerate. Okay. Looks like we're drawing from all engines equally, from all tanks equally, I mean. I certainly hope that's the case. Okay. Turn, you bastard, turn. More quickly, please. There's our crater. That's our target. And it looks like we're going to overshoot by a mile. Okay, bad idea. Bad idea. Bad idea. Yeah, we've badly overshot our landing zone and we're not getting back. Yeah, and these things are burning unevenly. Right now, I'm just hoping that I've got enough delta V to stop us before we plow into the ground. It's looking pretty tight. Okay. We've stabilized. I can't stay up here indefinitely, obviously. Two of the engines are on fuel tanks that aren't connected to the rest of them. And when they fail, we're almost certainly going to go TWR negative. So I'm trying to coast over the lip of this crater. Try to find more level ground. Just a little bit further. still a lot of slope here, but it's better than the inside of the crater. All right. Six meters per second at 70 meters altitude. Contact. Come on. Settle. Fuck. About out of monoprop. I've got to throttle up and find a better landing spot. And I've got to do it quickly. Well, Among the things that broke were both the drills. Nobody died, that's the good news. The bad news is that every penny of what we spent to get here has been wasted. We're out of monoprop, and reaction wheels are not going to be enough to lift this thing up on its butt, even if it had the, yeah, I'm stuck. And so are these guys. Right. That's pretty much going to end tonight's stream because I'm going to have to get back and I've got to find some things to get our funding back so we can make a second attempt at this. I'm going to have to go back to the drawing board and do a major rethink about this whole project. The mining thing, anyway. I may go ahead and launch the Minmus project as this is, just to get that contract out of the way. Actually, the irony is, I did get 109,000 Kerbucks because this counts as the first surface outpost on the moon. Ha, ha, ha. Well, shit. Okay, Graken, Hudka, Leary, make yourselves comfortable. We may be back. Okay, come on. Oh, fuck. It's probably gonna Kraken like that every time I load this thing in. But that's gonna have to be another time, because it's already over 4 hours into the stream, and besides, I need to calm down so I can think. Somebody said I sound humble and mad at the same time. Well, I'm certainly the mad part of it. Sure as fucking mad. Okay. And the icing on the cake, I now have 5 Kerbals stranded on the moon. Not just 2. No, my next stream is Wednesday night. I need a day to do some other things, including try to figure out what the hell I'm going to do next. Mission control. Plant flag on Minmus. Yeah, go ahead and take that. Build a new orbital station around Minmus. We've already got one, don't need that, but how much money does it give us? Actually, a pretty good chunk. Bring a newly discovered Class B asteroid into an orbit around Minmus. How much does that pay us? A lot more. Okay. And Robald is going to get a ride on that as well. Okay. I now know what I'm going to do. Or at least Wednesday night, the center of it is going to be, we're going to launch an asteroid retrieval mission. We've got a mission for a newly discovered Class B asteroid, that's pretty damn big, into an orbit around Minmus. And on the way up, we're going to rescue a Kerbal from orbit of Kerbin, just for the lulz. And that will put us in the way of getting towards money to make a rebuilt mining station, send it up, and get all our Kerbals someplace where they can actually come home again. This has been Chris Overstreet, the Redneck Gaijin. That was spectacularly expensive and unsuccessful, but maybe we'll do better next time. Thanks, everybody, for your continued support. Be sure to check out the Patreon. There's the link to the Patreon and Ko-Fi if you like the stream. We'll be back Wednesday night, 7 p.m. I'm going to go to bed now and try to forget that happened. Good night, everybody.